Welcome to the show, guys. You know, it is a great pleasure to be here again on the Simply I Can Win show. And just let us know in the comments, you know, if you're with us another time. How do you say that? If you're joining us again,
if you're back again,
let us know in the comments. Or if you're here for the first time, let us know. It'll be fantastic to know if you're here again or if you're coming for the first time. All right, cool. So tonight I want to get straight into it. I feel like this is the kind of topic we're gonna, I don't want to say fly through, but it's the kind of topic that we would potentially be able to talk for a long time. It's finance for real, okay? Not finance for a joke, finance for real. Yeah, so as we're going to be talking about finances for real, you know, I think it would be a great opportunity for us to just jump in, no holding back, and just share. How do you feel about that? All right, cool. So straight off the bat, do you want me to ask the questions, or do you want to ask the questions, or I'll let you lead tonight? Because I know on the last live stream, I know I led, and I asked you, like, I felt like you was on the spot in the last live stream, and because I felt like you was on the spot, I feel like there was ramifications to that.
No, what were ramifications?
Well, the next live stream didn't come out the next week.
No, we've just been
just
really
saying,
busy.
Yo.
We've just been really busy, and yeah, it's been a lot of work. That's it. So
it has been, guys.
Yeah.
But this is part of the reason why I thought it would be great to jump on the live stream and add value to the community, share with the community, like, from the finance perspective. Because obviously, we did our first live stream talking about faith. We went into talking about the family. So it's only right we now talk about finance.
That's right.
So I'm going to lead, but I'll let you kick us off.
Okay, cool.
Finance for real, guys.
When this subject comes up, I just think about how we started off talking about finance.
Yep. How did we start off talking about finance?
I don't really remember the beginning, but I remember
first argument.
No, that wasn't our first argument. Our first argument was about my hair, natural hair.
So second argument?
It was probably like our second.
And when we're saying argument, guys, it ain't like...
Yeah, it wasn't like...
Ain't like that.
It was just heated discussions. But I remember Samuel constantly kept wanting to talk about how we would financially have our structure. And I remember basically growing up, finances wasn't something we spoke about in my family, and it kind of just made me cringe. Like, literally, I don't know if you've seen that emoji where it's like, that's how it would make me feel. Just because there weren't very positive connotations when it came to money management. I got to about the age of 19 when I decided, look, I can't depend on my parent to help me with my finances, because it's clear they need help. So I bought a whole bunch of books to learn about my finances, about how to manage them. And it was a struggle, not because it was something hard to get into, but it was a struggle because I was living at home with my mum at the time, and the things I was being taught in the book were being challenged by having to, by being a dependent, I guess, let's just keep it there. By being a dependent in a home, in my parents' home, it was a struggle to implement the things I was learning because I had to give money on demand, basically. Let's keep it like that. So
give money on demand. That sounds crazy. I don't even know what does that mean.
So, for example,
give money on demand.
I had to pay rent first of all.
Okay.
Which I was at uni at the time.
But you was living with your parent.
Yeah.
So your parent was paying mortgage or rent, and you had to contribute.
Yeah, so I had to contribute. I think it was like a third or something like that.
Some people contribute, right? Guys, in the comments, let us know if you contribute.
Yeah.
I never had to contribute. It wasn't a said rule in my family.
But I think why it was difficult, and it wasn't just because I had to contribute, it was because I was working a job that had casual hours. So it was basically, there were no permanent Is that what's called? Not
Yeah,
permanent.
no permanent staff.
No, they were permanent staff. I wasn't permanent staff. I was a casual worker, so there were no
Okay, so there was
permanent
no
hours.
there was no
It was
fixed.
shift work.
Yeah, the income wasn't fixed. A
Yes.
fixed amount.
So that was one thing that made it a struggle. The second thing was I was at uni at the time, like I said, so I was commuting to Hertfordshire and back, and that made it hard to do. And then on top of that, any kind of financial strains that came in my direction from parents, I basically had to help with that. So basically, one of the things I learnt was about saving, and that's something I'd never even learnt the concept of prior to being 19 years old.
So when you say one of the things you learned, you got help
From the
people,
book,
innit?
from the books that I bought. So
Alright. So
the
what
books that I
books?
bought-
What kind of books did you
I
buy?
don't remember what.
How did you buy those books? Did someone recommend those
No,
books?
I just went online. Actually, I might have watched a video or two. I can't remember, but I remember I went online and I just bought a whole bunch of books. One of them was called "It's God's Money," which
That sounds like a fantastic title. It's God's money.
Yeah, it's a really good book. Another one was called like 30 Days, 30 Days on how to train your finances or something like that. 30 Days of Money Management or something like that.
I think isn't that the? Okay, no, that's a book we bought
So
together.
I'm looking here because this is where our library is, by the way. What's the book we bought together?
The 7 Ways Anyone Can Boost Their Income.
See, I didn't even know we had that. Is that the one you bought for me?
No,
The two ladies, no.
no. That's the 2 Income Trap.
Oh, okay. And there was another
Guys,
one.
if you should have your pen and papers right now. These are book recommendations.
There
No,
was
we're just
another
throwing
one.
out those recommendations casually.
I can't remember it, but one of them I can see here was about successful property letting, because I've always wanted to get into property. So I bought that book as well because I wanted to let out properties, because I believed that would be a key to my income.
You sure that's your book?
That's my book, husband. I bought that
You
successful
sure
property.
that's not your book? How to buy a house?
That is mine as well. My mum bought that for me, but I bought that book for myself.
Alright, cool.
Successful property letting.
Cool.
I bought that for myself
Cool.
on Amazon.
I think it's just when I read it last, I didn't see any notes inside, and I
No.
made notes.
And that's another thing. I never ever made notes in books until I met Samuel. And I remember when I saw him doing it, I was like, wow. I only ever done it in my Bible, I think, but I never done it in books, other books.
So do you think that's a helpful thing? Like, just as a
100%.
side note.
100%, especially if it's your book. Like, why not? For me, I felt like, oh, you don't write in books because you might want to give it to someone. But I feel if it's my book, it's for me it's to help me, isn't it? So I should make notes in my
Yeah,
own
you
book.
just buy someone else another copy.
That's it. And if it's my children, let them enjoy my notes.
But they need your notes probably more than they need the book.
Yeah. So yeah, I went on this shopping spree of, I think I bought about 10 books on finances. I was serious. I was desperate to become a woman who knew how to manage her money. And yeah, I remember it recommended saving like £50 a week or something, and I was like, I could do that. Like, although I was at uni and I was paying rent, etc. And I did manage to do that up until about £3,000, which was massive for me because I'd never saved before in my life. Like, I remember growing up and I used to always ask my mum and dad, how come we don't go on holidays? Like, I never went on holiday with my mum and dad once. Like, I think the only place we went to was Brighton Beach.
When Robbie's saying this while she lived with her parents, she's
Yeah.
talking about, okay, because she's since been on holiday with her dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's since been on holiday with both of her parents at different times.
Yeah. Once
But
when we were one family, as in
So
my
before
mum,
her
my
mum and dad
dad, and
separated.
myself, before my parents separated, I'd never been on holiday with both my parents, and I still haven't with both my parents at the same time. And all my friends would go away in half term, come back, oh yeah, I went Germany, I went here, I went there, and I'm like, why do I never go on holiday? And one thing is as well, I went to sixth form with a whole lot of Dominicans, and my dad's family is Dominican, so I remember like part of being Dominican was you go to Dominica every year.
I was gonna say that must be hard.
And
I couldn't imagine going to school with a whole group of Nigerians who consistently go back regularly, talk about going back regularly, and I'm the only guy who's never gone back or who's never even been.
yeah, and that's the thing. I'd never been, and I didn't go every year. And it just felt so. I felt very what's the word?
Alienated.
Left out, because I'd never knew what they were talking about. But I repped Dominica, and I was like, okay. So I always wondered, like, I would say to my mum and dad, why don't we go on holiday? My friends go every year. How do they do that? And my mum and dad always say, we can't afford it. And I say, yeah, but my friends' dads and mums, they don't work and they go on holiday. How do they do that? And it was always my dad would say, oh, they'd save. So I'd say, why can't we save? We can't afford it. We don't have enough money. We don't make enough money. And that always baffled me, because I didn't understand what caused me to be left out of that equation of being able to save and go on holiday, for example.
So tip number one, I guess what you're trying to say to the people is save.
Saves. That was.
Or learn to save.
Yeah, that was the first thing I got taught from the books that I read.
You read. So let me summarize this, because I'm just trying to make sure that I'm on the right thread with you. So you're basically saying you grew up in a household where your parents didn't talk about money. Money was probably a bit tabooish as a topic from what you're saying. You didn't enjoy potentially the fruit of money, i.e. you didn't go on holidays and stuff like that.
Yep.
Then you saw these people around you who were potentially doing activities. You questioned, how can they do those activities, you not do those activities if you're the same as them? Challenged your parents or asked your parents about it, and your dad drops the bombshell, they save, which helps you understand as a young girl that kind of, even if you ain't got a job, you can still do something with some money if you learn how to save.
Basically.
So then fast forward a few years later, you then say to yourself, well, hold on a minute, I would like to know about money. I want to be a woman who knows about money. So then you go on this book buying spree. You buy 10 books. Successful Property Letting is just one of those books. And then from buying those 10 books, the first concept you actually really engage with is saving as well.
Yeah. And like I said a little while ago, is I saved up to about £3,000. But I guess one mistake I made was talking about it. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, I've just saved this, I've saved that. And basically I lived with my mum, who was a single parent, I guess you could say, from the age of 15, which is when my parents broke up. And
when Robbie was 15, just to be clear.
Oh, sorry. And so any financial strains that I guess came upon her, she would sometimes share with me. And so once I'd saved that £3,000, I think a financial strain came up and I got asked to give the whole amount to her. And I remember
Are you laughing?
Yeah, I remember I felt so deflated. I just felt like, oh, everything I just saved, it's gone.
That's tragic.
It felt so heartbreaking, honestly. It felt heartbreaking. And I think around the time I had started going on holiday, I would pay for holidays for myself and my mum to go on holiday, because of this whole, we can't go on holiday without saving. So I would save money to go on holiday, and I'd pay for me and my mum to go on holiday. And I would sometimes organise big holidays where me and my friends would go with my mum, or just me and my mum, etc. So I paid for all of those holidays as well.
Where was that?
Where were you?
Where was I?
I hadn't met you at this time.
If Robbie's paying for the holiday, guys, don't you want to go? Let us know in the comments if you had a friend, a sister,
I only paid for my mum.
A daughter who was paying for your holiday. Would you want to go? And also let us know where you'd want to go.
I only organised them, and the thing is, what was interesting was that I'd often get told, Robbie, you need to put a little extra on the prices because you're organising the holidays. You should get paid out of it. You're good
at it. Robbie is extremely good at organising events, holidays. I can definitely testify.
Thanks, babe. So yeah, and like I was getting told, you should be going for free. Like if you're organising for everyone, you should at least make sure that the little bit on top from everyone pays for your ticket.
Alright guys, so look, #strategy right there, okay, because a whole bunch of people wouldn't have picked that up. There's a little strategy there, okay? How to go on holiday for free. Arrange when I was young, we used to use the word bombastic, but arrange an amazing holiday for you and your squad, you and your friends, and make sure that you get a little cut off each of the people, the participants attending, and then you might be able to go on holiday for free. I like that. That's a little strategy.
That is a good strategy, actually. And
we're talking finance for real, so
exactly. And
strategies need to be shared.
It was cheap to go on holiday back then. Like I remember.
No. It's cheap to go
on
holiday.
That's true.
I
I'm
don't
saying
think-
back then, the only
yeah.
thing that's changed is that as a family I've grown, like, or me as a person I've grown because I've got family. Whereas back then I was a single young woman.
Damsel.
So was it nada? No, let's not go there.
Hey.
So yeah, so I was a single person back then, and if I needed to pay for anyone else, it would be my mum. So I know it's still cheap to go on holiday, but I think it cost me like £190 for flights and accommodation, and it was in a 5-bedroom villa in Spain, I think it was, with a pool and everything. It was really nice, and it was just £190. So that was cool.
Per person, that
Per
is.
person,
Per person.
yeah.
So that's inflation. Obviously, inflation is at work, and I'm gonna hopefully talk a little bit about inflation later on. If I don't get to talk about inflation in this video, then you guys just let us know in the comments if you'd like us to talk a little bit more about inflation and how it affects families, holidays, etc. Let us know in the comment. Let us know in the chats, and we'll do that. We'll do another video if we don't get onto it in this video.
Yes.
So you learn about saving from the books. You learn about saving from your dad telling you that's why you and your family don't go on holiday.
Yeah.
What happened from there?
So basically, after that big deflation that happened with giving away the whole amount that I saved.
£3,000.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the video to really explore that.
It's
but
interesting because that's like 1 year of uni in terms of tuition fees at the time. When I was studying.
Right now it's 1/3.
Yeah, that's 1/3 of this, £9 a year.
1/3 of 1
But
year.
I was one of the £3 a year students anyway. So I'd saved enough to pay for at least 1 year of my university tuition fees. So for me that was a big amount, like £3,000. It's not an amount that I'd even heard of being tangible to me whilst growing up. Like that was like wow. So yeah, it felt like a big deflation for me, and I do think that put like a bad taste in my mouth concerning finances and money management, because I just felt like, what is the point? That's how I felt. Honestly, I
want to touch this. Like, I don't think the whole dilemma is something we could talk about in this video, just being transparent. But I think the emotion is definitely something we should talk about in this video, because if you want to talk finance for real, people need to understand about how certain things have an effect on them. So and we're going to explore this a lot more as we talk about our journey in finance a lot more. But the key for me is, so you kind of picked up about saving from your dad. You then kind of learned about saving from books that you bought in order to change your perception, your paradigm, your understanding, your knowledge base about money. Then you actually activated the knowledge, which is great. Woman of wisdom, be a person of wisdom, guys. Proverbs 14 verse 1 and all of that. So you started building your financial house. You started saving. And then from saving up £3,000, one day your mum's going through some financial issues. She comes and shares that with you. That was the language I think you used earlier. And from sharing that with you, her request is, give me your money.
Yeah.
Which sounds like what a robber says to someone.
It probably wasn't said like that.
Okay.
And knowing how I was, upon the sharing of the information, I was probably like, I've got some money saved.
Alright, cool. So let me ask the question just for the viewers. Is that mean you was a bit naive?
Yeah, I was 100%.
Alright, cool. So
100%.
So let's jump into this a bit. So through naivety or whatever it is, you then give up the money. You give up the money. You give up.
I was in a robbery for
give
up the money.
Alright, so you give up the £3,000 that you had saved.
Yeah.
And after giving up the £3,000 that you had saved, you now financially, in terms of your savings, have nothing.
I had zero, and the thought of starting from £50 again just felt like
that's powerful.
It just felt like a big pin put into a balloon. The
reason I wanted to go over that and summarize that and make it clear is because I want you guys to pick something up. So we started with maybe principle number 1, if you want to think of it like this: saving. Like I don't like the word saving. Like, I was really good at saving when I was young, but I don't try to use the word saving. What I like to use as a concept is having something. Do you get what I mean? Like, you can call it saving, cool. Saving, the word generally has got a bad rep in my experience, but you know, it's not about necessarily saving, it's about having something. Like, do you have any reserves? Do you have anything? Because if somebody, like basically guys, if someone is going to work out your net worth, they're going to start with the assets you have retained.
Yeah.
So savings for me is just it's part of the process of having something.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's good, like you learn a system, £50 a week, was it?
Mm-hmm.
You learn a system of £50 a week, put something away so you have something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a system in order to have something. But for me, it's about having something. And that something can be anything. It could be tangible assets. It could be gold, silver. It could be properties. It could be cash. It could be money in the bank, liquidated. It could be anything. Yeah, but it's about having something. So you've learnt this concept about having something. You learnt the concept of effectively what you can call snowballing, but basically putting a little away and letting it grow up.
Yeah.
And now basically that's been given away. Then you said you basically felt deflated because you gave it away, okay? Now this is why I wanted to explore this, because I want people to understand that money, okay, for many people is interlinked with your emotions. Like it's interlinked. This is why, you know, we can have a channel about faith, family and finance, because all of those things are interlinked as well.
Yeah.
Like in the Bible, for example, it tells you certain things about money. It says, look, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your treasure in your financial journey was in, oh, I've learned how to save, I've got this amount of savings here, and then your savings are depleted from you, your heart would have been in that.
Yeah.
And that's now been taken from you as well.
Yeah, and I think the scripture that comes to mind while you're speaking is Proverbs 13 verse 12, where it says, hope deferred makes the heart sick.
Yeah.
But
Desire when it's accomplished is
met,
a tree of life.
It's a tree of life. And I think for me, in my mind, I had this imagination of saving money to go on holidays. I just the freedom. Like I wanted to put away money that I could just be free. And I'd always heard about this concept of buying a house and having money for that, but I didn't understand the concept of mortgage. I'd never been told about mortgage, never knew what that meant. I just heard it quite a lot. And I think I was kind of brought up in a way where you don't ask questions.
Is that good? Is that good or bad?
I think it's terrible, but because I was brought up like you don't ask questions, you just do as you're told and that's it. When I'd hear mortgage, I didn't think, oh, I want to know what that is. Let me go investigate. Hence why I got to 19. It was at the age of 19 before I even thought about, oh, how do I manage my finances? For me, I think that's very late. Like 19 years old, you're about to go into adulthood. This is something you should have been trained on all your life.
Was you going to say you're a big woman?
No, I wasn't going to say that. But yeah, so for me, it just felt a bit like a big deflation because I had so many dreams and ideas matched up with the money that I was planning to save. And so I think from that experience, as well as many others like that, and then with all these expenses in my mind that were coming out, it just felt like, oh, just forget it right now. It's too much. It's a lot. Like,
let me ask you this. So besides holidays, because you mentioned holidays quite a few times, but besides holidays, what were some of these dreams? Like you're young, you're 18, 19. It's probably about 19 when you gave up that money. So, yeah, what were some of the dreams?
I didn't have many, and it's interesting because I'd like to dig deeper into what that was. Not here on today's show, but I mean in life. At some point, I'd like to dig deeper as to why I didn't dream much, because I never, like, you know how girls say, oh, I had my wedding planned in my head. Like Art Samuel, when we were planning to get married, I didn't have any idea as to the dress I wanted, what I wanted it to look like. I was just like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm on getting married, but I don't have this. I need this and I need this and I want these colours and I never had that. And I was really excited to now plan stuff by myself in my head because I'd never done it before, which got quickly sorted out. But yeah, I never dreamt much. So the only thing that I had envisaged for my money was going on holiday because it's something I never got to do as a child. And
apologies.
The other thing was, like I said, I kept hearing about buying a house. So it was like, oh, this is going to be useful. Going on holiday and buying a house. And I wanted my own car as well. So it was those three things that I...
So a holiday, a car and a house.
Yeah.
And you know the funniest thing for me is like, I think you should explore that. Like obviously in the future. But I'm going to tell you why. I'm just going to give you the answer. Because I just like doing that.
That's what it does.
It's like helping you. Like, it's because you weren't taught to ask questions.
Yeah.
They're both interlinked. because the part of you, the part of any human being that allows us to ask questions is inquisitiveness. It's our inquisitiveness. Our inquisitiveness is directly linked to our imagination. So if you're not encouraged to use your inquisitiveness, you're not encouraged to use your imagination. If you're not encouraged to use your imagination, you're not going to have many dreams.
And it's interesting because it's so weird, because I wasn't encouraged or groomed in a way to ask questions, but I was encouraged to be dependent. So if I was asking questions, it would be to ask for permission or for opinions of what I should do. So for example, if I was going shopping, it would be, call me to decide what colour you want to buy, and I'd be like, what colour should I buy, red or yellow? So it was that kind of questioning. It wasn't exploration questioning, and I think that's why what you're saying, husband, makes a lot of sense, because that there was a limit, a cap put on exploring, which is something very natural to human beings as well as children, specifically. Like, I think that what you're saying is very true in terms of, if you're not permitted to question things, because there's a theory of do as I say and not as I do, then it can kill dreams, isn't it?
Cool.
Or not even allow them to germinate.
Alright, so let's jump off the dream killers. Now, save money, give money away, clearly see the connection between emotion and the finance. Now you felt at this time deflated in the past, not interested in going through that again. £50 a week, I don't want to start at 50 again. Saving, So we've already shared saving is kind of a concept, okay, or having something, as the terminology I've used. You said that the minute you think about finance, you just think about our journey. So I think personally, from knowing your story, this is the time where it shifts from your story to our story.
100%.
So
let's go to our story.
So what happened? What happened?
Basically, from what I've just shared with you, there was a concept, but now I needed to put that concept into action, and I needed order, but I didn't know how to look for that, etc. But when meeting Samuel, he would constantly be talking about ordering finances, having a system, etc. And I remember just feeling like, oh, I don't want to talk about this, don't want to talk about it, thank you very much. And I wouldn't do that. I think maybe I'd just go quiet and be like, okay. Like, I don't remember having conversations with Samuel about it because I didn't want to talk about it.
Used to passively shut them down.
Yeah, and Samuel would be like, look, I want to sort this out before we get married. And I'd be like, okay. Oh, do you like this dress? Like, what do you think about this dress? How's this dress? And I remember it was just after we got married. It might have been the same week. I'm sure it was the same week, even if it wasn't the next day. Or no, probably 2 days later, because I wasn't feeling too well the next day. I
got food poisoned on my wedding day, guys.
Not by me, I didn't cook
Just so you know.
Anyway, so I remember Sam saying, look, we didn't get to talk about this before we got married, and I wanted to talk about it before we got married, and now we're married. Like, I'm not waiting to talk about this. Like, this needs to be sorted out now.
Because now you my wife.
Because now you my wife, and we's a we now.
We's a we now.
We's we now, yeah.
We is we now is cool, but we's a we now.
We's a we. We's not a me and you. We's a we now.
Okay.
Yeah. Get me. Anyway, so yeah.
I said to you, you gotta talk about it.
There was no reason or excuse I had not to talk about it now, because I was now this man's wife, and our money was our money, and everything else was ours. So I had no excuse now. So it just felt like I felt trapped. I'm not gonna lie, I felt very trapped. Like, I've got to talk about this thing. I don't want to talk about this thing. Oh my gosh! That's guys, honestly how I felt.
Guys, I've got a cut Robbie there to say this to you. Money matters can make people feel like that.
Yeah, 100%.
I want you guys, look. Let me really be transparent with you guys. This is why you get people that are extremely rich. They get a little bit of bad news about their money, and they jump off a building. Or as we heard about a few years back, it was probably nearly over a decade now, but the gentleman who was a very successful stock trader, he lost a lot of money, came home, took a gun, finished his family, then finished himself. You know, all of these kind of things happen because, guys, I've said it already. Like, finances are connected with people's emotions,
100%.
and unless you learn to manage that or detach that, like, they will have an effect on you. This like, I speak about this all the time, that in property events, wherever I go, and people ask me about certain things, and slightly the topic of money comes up, I always talk about, like, most people working a 9 to 5 are like, and I'm guys, this is not an insult, this is just factual, they're like heroin addicts. They're like addicts on a class A drug. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean just the simple fact that they are only going to that job for that hit at the end of the month, on the 30th or on the last Friday, or where, like, I don't, you know, wherever the payday is, they go to their jobs only for that.
The money's there.
The relief again.
Some zeros.
You know, and then they,
at the beginning.
and then they spend the next 12, 11, 10, 4, 3, 1 day, for some of them, spending that money, meeting all of their direct debits, their hire purchases, their purchases of things that they couldn't afford, and then they can't wait again till the 30th or the last Friday again to get paid again, which I think is crazy. Like, I think it is crazy. I'm not saying it's so crazy like we should stop it and no one should have a job, but I think it's so crazy that we should have in schools, we should have some education around money management, but in terms of your emotion, like we call it financial literacy, but from an emotional perspective. What do they call it? Emotional intelligence perspective. You know, there needs to be more emotional intelligence around money.
Sorry, I'm laughing there because something you said reminded me of something. Literally, this is how clueless I was about finances. Obviously, I already said to you I didn't know anything about mortgage. It wasn't until I got married, literally after I got married, that Samuel explained to me what a mortgage was. I never knew what that was. But just now you said hire purchase. I remember I used to hear my dad say, "Oh, on hire purchase, on hire purchase, on hire purchase," and I always thought it was higher, as in higher, not lower. HIGHER. And in my mind, it was like, that's a higher purchase. That means I can't do that. Honestly, it's so funny. And it wasn't until I got married again, not married again. Again, it wasn't until I got married that I knew what higher purchasing was. I never knew that. Like, so
it's not HIGHER. It's HIRE.
Yeah. So, for example, when I got to uni,
where's the R that you added on? Higher.
Oh no,
it's HIRE.
HIRE. Sorry, what someone said. Yeah. Sorry, thank you.
That's alright.
And so it was interesting because when I got to uni, a lot of my friends had their own cars, etc., on hire purchase, which I thought was hire purchase, and I was like, oh no, I can't do hire purchase because it's higher. Like, it's so funny. That's why I was laughing, but not realizing that a lot of them had it on hire purchase, which is not necessarily something I wanted to get into anyway. But I always thought it was unattainable to me because it was hire purchase. Because in my mind, we can't afford it. From what my dad and my mum said, so they can afford it. They can afford hire purchase. I can't afford hire purchase.
Guys, this is funny because for me, what Robbie just done is tied in two things. The thing I was going to say and the thing she just said as well. It's like, you see, Robbie's already spoke about inquisitiveness. I obviously added on imagination, etc. The thing that's interesting is all of us feed off of what we've been taught. So you and I are seeing how when you're in university, you're seeing other people in cars, and your initial perception is you couldn't afford it because you were drummed into your head as a youth. You can't afford it, you can't afford it, you can't afford it. You can't be like even normal people because you can't afford it. Then what compounds on that is not being able or not being taught to ask questions, to be inquisitive, to imagine. So now as a direct byproduct, not asking any questions, you got a false concept of something, and you just believe that false concept's a false concept.
Basically.
Now the reason why all of this is important, because it goes back to what I was saying earlier about how important it is for us to be people who understand the emotional element, because a lot of people are controlled by their emotions around money, around principles and facts which do not exist, like hire purchase, okay, which doesn't exist, you know, because it's a higher purchase, you know, HIRE. So you might look at someone and perceive something about their financial position
100%.
and just not even know what's really going on.
Be completely wrong. But yeah, let's get to the good part of the story. So, one day it was like I said to someone, look, we can do it next week or something like that, and I gave a date, and he was like, okay, cool.
Speaking of us having a conversation about finances
and making a financial structure was the actual term, and because I'm very like big on integrity, especially since meeting Samuel, I was like, I have to stick to this because I've said next week. So I remember when the date came and we were sitting in the little meeting that we were doing, I remember like trying to make myself feel vexed so that it'd be like, see, this is why I didn't want to do it anyway. See what I mean? Like, can't even, do you get what I mean? I wanted it to go bad.
Sounds deceptive.
I wanted it to go bad to prove why I didn't want to talk about this. And it went extremely well in my opinion. It was a brilliant meeting. Like, things got cleared up. I remember I said to someone, oh my gosh, why did I not know about financial structures before? If I'd known this, I would have been like managing my money very well, like having a financial structure, knowing where every bit of your money's going. Do you know how much peace that is? That's like, it's peace. I don't know how else to put it. It's peace. Like knowing, for example, if I had a financial structure for the £3,000 I had saved, someone asked me for that, I would have said no. Sorry, I know where that's going. I know what it's for. It's assigned to this, assigned for that. I can't. Apologies. You know what I mean? So having that discussion with Samuel about financial structures was amazing, and even just seeing from the inside how integral and how particular and how pedantic Samuel is concerning finances, like it was in ministry to me, because all my life I'd seen people be wayward with money and careless with it to the point where they'd have money and spend it on several things, and then when I say, oh, how come you can't go on holiday, get told you can't afford it, and it doesn't match up. Seeing such a big contrast to that in Samuel's life was like encouraging for me. And I don't know, like I think it is a Nigerian thing, but Nigerians have a culture of using money well, or keeping money well, or what's the word, babes? Like,
I don't know what Nigerians be doing.
Managing, I think that's the word. Managing money well. Like, I grew up around a lot of Nigerians, and that's something I would see with my Nigerian friends, and especially the men in their family. Like, they managed money well, and they were always very good at maths. And I think seeing like the little secrets about not having, like, I always had one bank account. What's the point of having more? I didn't know that you could even have more than one bank account.
That's, you know, the funniest thing, guys, I've heard that so many times.
I never knew.
Like, I've heard that from when I was young.
My parents only had one bank account.
I'd hear people tell me, like, are you sure you can have more than one bank? Listen, let me show you how funny this is. I've gone into banks and said to the cashier, like, yeah, I'm gonna put that into my other account with another bank, and they've been like, they've given me a face like,
are you allowed to do that?
Are you allowed? Like,
it's true.
Guys, they all want your money.
Yeah, and because both my parents had their one account, from my knowledge anyway, it's like once that's empty, so you haven't got any money until payday. So that's kind of what I was used to. So for example, getting married, not to share all our secrets, but getting married and seeing that, oh, in this account, this is for this, and when that's low, if by force we need some money, there's money over there, like, and that was like, you can have money diversified in different places. What do you mean? Like, that didn't make sense to me. So it was a blessing meeting Samuel, for more than just being his wife. But I've learnt, and I'm learning, and I learned so much concerning finances. And honestly, having a financial structure is such a blessing. Budgeting, again, something I was just like, oh, I don't know about budgeting. Budgeting is a blessing. Again, knowing where your money is going.
With the budgeting, I'd say I don't think it's for everyone. But
why?
Because I think the concept is for everyone, but I don't think it's for everyone. So what I mean is, how people execute that, I think is going to be different for every single person. And I think that's why I say it like that. I don't think it's for everyone. I think, like, you see, like, if I'm going to be honest, like I think the way we budget and the way we have budgeted in the past, if I say that more accurately, I don't think would work with a lot of people. But I break it down like this: if you had a pie chart, if you had a circle, and you just broke that circle into 3 or 4 pieces and said, okay, like 1/4 is going to be for your living expense wherever you live. Another quarter is going to be like savings. Another quarter is going to be like Robbie spoke about holidays, for holidays, and another quarter is for like cars. Yeah, like that is the kind of budget that I think on a very basic level people could use, people could start to get to grips with. But I think when you get more extensive than that, I don't think every single person is going to necessarily be able to engage with it. But I think budgeting is great. Obviously, I wouldn't have spoken to you about budgeting all those years back. But I just think, I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel as though you have to learn to budget in a way that works for you.
Yeah, but budgeting on a whole.
Yeah, budgeting as a concept is a good concept.
I still think it's for everyone. Like, obviously, that can come in all different forms and methods and strategies. But I do think budgeting on a whole, because of that whole knowing where something, it's like creating streams. People say, isn't it, streams of income? It's like creating streams for your money, so that when, imagine it being like water. If a bucket of water comes down, you don't want that just splashing everywhere and thinking, oh, where did that penny go? Oh, where did that? Come back. Like, if you set out streams, you've dug streams out for it, so that when it pours down, it flows through the streams that you've prepared for it. That's peace. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how farmers grow their crops. They create streams, knowing that this is ensuring that all the crops get sufficient water. So yeah, for me, I think budgeting is brilliant.
Perfect. So I agree, which is obviously why years back I shared it with you. So I'm gonna say this. So we spoke about saving, which I think is key and helpful for people.
Do you mind if I get more comfortable?
Yeah, get. Do you guys mind if Robbie gets more comfortable?
Sorry.
So we spoke about saving, which I think you spoke about quite well. We gave a little strategy there as well in terms of the £50 a week, which Robbie learned from a book. Just basically, like I said, if saving is about having something, then just do something. That's what I'd say to you.
Yeah.
Just do something. It might be £1 a week. It might be £1 a day. It's not about how much you do. It's about learning the habit. When I was very, very young, I got really good at saving. So I learned habits to learn to save, and I just got good at learning those habits. So I'd encourage you to learn some of those habits. So outside of saving, you then went to speak about a few other things which I think are powerful. You spoke about budgeting, okay, and you spoke of, we'll come back to budgeting. So 1, saving. 2, you spoke about having a financial system, okay, and then you use this term which I like, which I'm going to use as number 2. You said diversifying. You're speaking about bank accounts. You're saying, oh, you can have different bank accounts. You can diversify. And the thing that's funny is that's all a financial system is. A financial system is the diversification of your primary resource. Yeah. So when your primary funds come in from your job, if it's a job you got, or your eBay business, your whatever business you might have, whatever you might be doing, if property business, etc. When your funds come in, you diversify those funds into various things which are of importance and significance to you. Yeah. So that might be similar to what I said with the pie chart earlier. You know, your living expenses, your savings for a rainy day, your motor vehicle, and your holidays, your dream life, or whatever. So that's a very basic financial system, but that's a financial system. Like in our financial system, we tithe. That's the first thing. We take a certain percentage off the top. That's going to our faith, basically, so to God in that sense. Besides tithing, what else do we do in our financial system? What's our financial system look like to people?
Our financial system, Sam is putting me on the spot right now, and it's late. But our financial system, yes, consists of tithing. We have funds that go towards education, funds that go towards our long-term investment goals, funds that go towards our long-term saving goals, funds that go towards our essentials, so the expenses that come out, funds that go towards our play, as in things that we can use for what's the word?
It's like you can break it down to an allowance or whatever.
Like an allowance.
It's your money. Yeah. You do what you want with that.
Your play money. You play with it as much as you want, however you want, in the laws of the word of God. And then I think the last one is our financial freedom. Or have I covered that already?
I think you basically covered most of them. So guys, again, like Robbie was saying, it's not about divulging, oh, this is what we do, you should do it. If you want that, let us know in the comments. But it's more so about just giving you guys some ideas. So the things that we think are important, you know, long-term savings, you know, financial freedom, whatever else it is, they're things like, I remember years back when we were both working full-time, even before you were working full-time, but when we were both working full-time mainly, our main thing was getting out of debt. You know, we were listening to a lot of Dave Ramsey, reading a lot of Dave Ramsey, and it was just like, we got to get out of debt. So we were throwing a whole bunch of money in terms of our financial system at that point. A big chunk of our financial system was based on debt freedom. You know, so student loans, we didn't want any student loans. We were throwing like £500 a month at student loans, trying to get rid of those student loans, etc. So yeah, I remember that. It was good. It was good times. Good times. I enjoyed those times.
Yeah, we had, I think when we got married, we had four
primary debts. We had 2 student overdrafts and we had 2 student loans. The student overdrafts were in the region of 1,000 and 2,000, and the student loans were 11,000 and 22,000 roughly.
And then we got rid of.
We just hacked them one at a time. Bang, bang, bang.
So that was good. And yeah, like, one of the things I'd say is a blessing about diversifying your money is that you can see where you need to make more money if there's a shortfall in certain areas, and you're not panicking to put money in certain places like, oh, there's a bill here, but you've already set aside money to go towards certain things. So yeah, that's one of the blessings about it as well.
Yeah, so these are the 3 so far: savings. Then we've gone into have a financial system, which is basically the diversification of your primary revenue. And then the third thing that we've basically shared is budget. Like, have a plan for your money. And I think you should have a plan for your money, because if you don't have a plan for your money, the thing that you need to realize is your money will have a plan for you. Okay, and this is the deepest thing. The plan your money will have for you is not necessarily going to be a plan that your money made up. Okay, this could be a plan that someone else made up. You know, the advertisers, the marketers, other people who are around may have made up for you, because you haven't gone out of your way to basically make them up yourself. 100%. So I hope that starts to make sense for you as well, guys. Apologies, guys. Had a little technical there. Okay, so like we were saying, basically just plan your money so your money's not planning you. All right, so that's 3. You think that's enough value for them today?
Yeah, I think that's a great. If you're not big on finances or you're not very much aware of finances, I think that's a great place to start. Those 3 areas, I think that's great.
Excellent. So guys, we're gonna be out right now, gonna work with little man, and just as an encouragement, if you do not know what you're doing in terms of your finances, start small, okay? But just start. Don't be the person who's waiting for someone else to start you off. Life doesn't work like that, okay? Even if you're lost in the race, at least you know you made a start. So the first and foremost thing we've said is start looking at how you can start to save. Second thing, start looking at how you can actually start diversifying your funds by having a financial system, placing things in different locations and places. And then third and foremost, why not start to develop a budget? If you got value from this video, we would really appreciate if you hit the like button. At the same time, if you're not a subscriber and you're watching this content, why don't you subscribe to the channel? I think Daniel's trying to tell you guys you should subscribe to the channel. And last but not least, why don't you hit the bell notification so you can keep up to date with every single video that we drop?
Say hi to the people.
Guys, it's been a great pleasure to be on. Daniel needs us to come off. So without further ado, see you later. Simply I Can Win is signing out. Take care. Good night.